Do you need to dig a giant hole like the one behind me? Well then this right here is the video for you. Let's start with the resources you're going to need for this build. And here they are here in this conveniently placed shulker box. For each individual TNT duplicator, we need 2 sticky pistons, 6 slime blocks, a wall, a minecart, a detector rail, not a powered rail, a detector rail, I get that wrong every time, TNT, a dead fan, and it's always handy to have a lever as well, because we need some way to activate the sticky piston, but we'll come back to that later. And then if you also want that to be a flying machine, you'll need these other resources over here. And to make that a flying machine, you'll need 2 observers and a slime block on that actual thing. Again, we'll get back to that. So the resources for each of those bays, these quantities here are for both of them combined. So per bay, you'll need a lever, you'll need a repeater, 2 obsidian, 1 redstone dust, an observer, and an iron trapdoor. But again, you'll need 2 of them, so I've just doubled all of the requirements. So you will need both of them, of course. But yeah, this is all the items that you'll need. So let's grab those ones and actually just get straight into it, straight away, ham. And it's also handy to just have some spare random blocks just for when you're building it. Just makes it a little bit easier. Now, you can build this anywhere you want. Literally anywhere you want. It doesn't matter. As long as it's not above your friend's base, that's probably not the best decision because it's going to just destroy everything. But anywhere else is pretty much fine. So I'm going to build it around here. And I want it to be at a height that's far enough above the ground that TNT won't blow itself up. Because obviously that's not what you want. You don't want your TNT duplicator to destroy your own TNT duplicator. That's not what you want. I think this right here is a pretty good spot for the TNT duplicator to start, because it'll go along that way, and I think it'll take out as much of this as it possibly can. Maybe even this block here. We'll go with this one just to make sure it gets as many of these side ones as it can, because that one's a bit far out, so it might be difficult to get. Especially when we get lower down to deep slate, it will take more TNT to blow up, and it might be more difficult to get those side ones. But that's alright. So we'll go with this block right here, and then it's far enough away from the wall that I'll be building that way. This is the most west block it can be. And then everything else will be east, so we've got to leave enough space right here, and it's high enough that it won't blow itself up with TNT that falls, and also TNT that blows up won't yeet all the way back up and then explode. Like, that shouldn't happen. Look, it may happen. I've had it happen a few times, but mostly because of lag and just server issues, but it should be okay otherwise, and generally it's pretty chill. It's pretty chill. It doesn't happen too often. Now, from this block that we've got right here, was that a witch that just fell? I think so, because that is a witch farm right there. Probably what came out of that. Kind of the only thing that could have. Anyway, from here we'll place a slime block right there, and then we'll replace that with a slime block, and then just make an L. As simple as that. Look at that. Making an L to get that dub. God, am I right, guys? How do you do, fellow kids? Anyway, let's do another L right over here. We've got 2 L's, both facing the way that we want them to go. If we want the flying machine to go west, for example, we need these L's facing west. Then all we need is a sticky piston on the back of this block right here. So we'll build out 2, destroy that one, jump over, smack that bad boy right there. We'll keep that spare block for now. You can break it, but I prefer to not, because that's where the lever's going to go later. Actually, we're going to do it right now. I pranked you guys so good. Anyway, from there, we need to add the coral fan at the front. Again, the front, like the TNT will go on this other block right here. It has to be the coral fan that way, facing forward. I kind of imagine it like a drill bit, sort of. It kind of doesn't really look like a drill bit, but it helps my mind, so that's what we're going with. And then the TNT has to be below the wall. Now, this is mostly pretty good. We need the minecart and detector rail right above this block right here. I always have the rail going left to right from the directions that I want to go, with a minecart on top. And it's an important step right here. So it looks pretty chill, but it has to have one more thing happen. And this is exactly why you can't build this L one block this way, which is what I did before I really understood what was going on. But we have to prime it, which we do by activating this piston and then pulling it back. And that's all done. So look at that. It's in a different position, as you can see, and it's in the correct position. So if I activate this lever again, I'll build out a few blocks just so we can see it the best we possibly could. It'll drop a TNT. And there it goes right there. All the way down, and it's gonna... Yeah, just like that. We pull it back, it doesn't, but every time it extends, it's gonna drop a new TNT. So then you can spam it over and over. I prefer to not, because I get concerned that it's gonna come back up and destroy itself, or it's just gonna bat in the wrong direction. Like that one, I think curved a bit more back. I've had them in the past where they yeet back this way at a ridiculous angle sometimes. It happens mostly because of lag and server issues again, but you know, it happens. And then that's right there. That's perfectly fine. This right here is a fully functioning TNT duplicator. And you know, it's not particularly great, but if you only need a hole that goes perfectly down, just like this is all you need. You don't need a flying machine. I'm only using flying machines because I'm not going to build these over and over and over and over every few blocks. I need one to go back and forth and whatnot. But look how simple that is. Look how simple that is. Bam, just like that. Just like that. But for those of you who have a project more like this one here, where we need the flying machine to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and slowly get rid of all the blocks all the way down to bedrock, like this one I've got here, as I've already said, you'll need this next step to turn this into a flying machine. At the moment, we've got something like this, where it's sick, don't get me wrong, but just one block doesn't really help us too much. So what we're going to need to do is we need to build out, so there's an obsidian block right there. So it's one higher and then, okay, I picked it up, I can fix it, I forgot that I have Instamine, my bad. Whoa, look at that, good as new, nothing ever went wrong. Perfect. Now, the obsidian block needs to be here. As I've said, one block up and then one block back and to the right/left, if that makes sense. I'm sure you can visualize it here. It needs to be that one right there, that one right there. And then this right here is where the observer for the flying machine is going to come in. We'll build that part afterwards because it's easier if we place this in place first. So let's use this stone block instead. And that right there is our spectacularly beautiful observer. I love it. Look how nice. And then from there, we need another spare block here, and then obsidian behind that to make sure that nothing can blow up. It doesn't need to be obsidian, but I like it to be. It hasn't failed me yet because it doesn't blow up. It's hard to mine, yeah, but it doesn't blow up. Now this block right here that's facing into our observer that can be part of the flying machine needs to be an observer. If that was a confusing way of saying that, but I'm sure you gather it. There needs to be an observer facing into that block with a trapdoor on top of it, just like that. And then we'll break that stone block because we needed it for the trapdoor, and then we need to have a way to power it. So this last block on the obsidian, we need redstone dust with a repeater facing into that trapdoor with ideally 2 ticks. You can have it slower or faster depending on the server. I have it as 2 and it works, so that's just what I tend to go with. And then we'll smack an we'll smack a lever at the end there, and then we're all good. That is the bay all done. I've already completed the one over there, as you can see, the exact same, and it's super simple. It is super simple. The way it works is this flying machine will fly in, and there'll be an observer exactly where this stone block right there, that right there is an observer. We're facing upwards, and then it'll notice when this iron trapdoor changes state, which will happen because this observer notices that there's an observer here. I'll start again, I confused myself. Flying machine comes in, and that is observed by this observer, which powers this block, which powers the redstone, which powers the repeater, which then activates this trapdoor slightly, which is enough to activate this here observer, still an observer, not a stone block, and then it'll send it back that way. Unless the flicked on like that, in which case it won't change state when the observer comes in, and therefore it won't get sent back. This is how you turn it on and off. And then here comes the good part, the turning of this into a flying machine. We need a sticky piston right there, then it becomes just like a cross pattern of sticky pistons pointing into slime blocks, and then as well as the observer. The easiest way to place these in, because we need an observer in this block, that one right there, as well as this one right here, facing upwards, and the easiest way to do it is to build off this iron trapdoor. If we go something like that, and if I just fly underneath that, you can do it with trapdoors. It's easier with the elytra though, if you've got the elytra that is. And then if we break that, it doesn't matter, because that'll observe. This observer will have seen us breaking this block, but it doesn't matter because this observer is responsible for sending the flying machine this way. So it's trying to move the flying machine that way, but there's obsidian. So there's literally nothing it can do. You can see it's noticing it, but again, absolutely powerless. It's this one that we care about because this is the one that's going to send it that way. So as you can see, the observer on the left, if you're facing the direction that the flying machine wants to go, that needs to go, the observer on the left is the one that pushes it that direction. So over that side, you can see that it's a flipped bay over that way because it's responding to this observer right here. Because when it'll be going this way, it'll be coming from that one over to this one. It'll be going this way, and therefore this is the left observer, and that's the one it needs to care about because it's trying to go this way. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Let me know down below if it doesn't. I'll try to fix it if I can, but I think that it makes sense to me, but I know what I'm doing. So if it doesn't make sense to you, I'm very sorry. Very, very sorry. But now the moment that we've all been waiting for, seeing this bad boy actually work. I removed all my chests. I have. Boom, get those out of my hotbar. Smack the lever. And then it goes. Now, you may run into some problems with the flying machine, most of which occurred by lag or server or just leaving the chunks or leaving the world when the flying machine's going, which it doesn't like to do. No flying machine likes that. It just gets confused. So if we, for example, if we send that one off now, okay, and it's chilling, and if I was to leave the server, then it might break. Most of the time it's fine. From my experience, most of the time it's fine, this specific flying machine, but it can also break, so just expect that. Now, I've placed an obsidian block right there, so it should stop, and does. Perfect. Let's see if I can land. Ta-da! Boom, okay. So let's say it breaks right about here, and then it's confused about where to go. Alright, so I built another obsidian block over there. I have built another obsidian block. I've placed another obsidian block over there, so it'll stop there as soon as I'm, ready to show you the next issue that happens with them. Let's say this one stopped right here because you've left the server or left the chunks, or it's just stopped for whatever reason. Then, whichever direction that it's going, place a block or update in any way the observer on the left. Like, if we're going this way, and that's where the obsidian is, I can send it back that way if I wanted to. I don't want to. But I want it to go this way, so this is the left observer. If I update that, it'll just go back on its way. And it's perfectly fine, it's chilling. Yes, it's not currently dispensing TNT, that's because it's going backwards. It'll only dispense TNT when it's going forwards, so that's nothing to worry about. And then if we fly back over, oh, I missed it. The next issue that you're going to encounter quite a bit, potentially, is sometimes the minecarts fall out. Why did I say quite a bit? It's not a particularly common thing, it just can happen, especially with entities and TNT minecarts, and sometimes the minecart can fall off. So if I break that now, cool, okay. Sometimes if the TNT gets updated, it ignites and that's it. Like, do not update it with water, because it is, at this point in time, it is able to ignite. That is a lit TNT right there. It doesn't look like it doesn't think it is, but it is. So if you update it in any way with water or pistons or break any of the blocks touching it, including this here fan, it'll ignite. It'll realize, oh, hold on, let me just blow up real quick, and then it'll drop. So don't do that. When you're placing, if you place water to do anything, just do not let the water touch the TNT, because it'll go off and then you lose the TNT. There's nothing you can do about it. So let's say we've broken that. Let's say we've broken the minecart, it's fallen off. The way to fix it, it's super easy. The first thing you want to do, break the TNT. Because if you break it first, and when it doesn't realize it is lit and it's ignited, when it's gonna blow up, it won't blow up, it'll drop as an item. But if you break the fan first, or any of the blocks that it's touching, then it'll get confused. So if we break all these blocks except for this one here, and then if we go and collect our items, which, I need to do because I only grabbed one of each for the demonstration's sake, and so you can see my exact inventory, but you, I imagine, would have multiple of each, so it's not too much of an issue. If we fly back, and all we gotta do is place this section again, right like that, and then the TNT goes underneath again, and then the fan at the front, and then we will, of course, I just put the wrong way. Well, can I get it there? I can. The minecart like that, and then I'm pretty sure, if let's get out of the way. If I, for example, smack that block right there, it pushes, and then it realizes it's ready to be ignited. That's all it is. It's simple as that. Simple as that, and then it's good to go, and then, oh, I better turn that off. And then it's fixed, and that's all it is. That's genuinely all it is. Now, it's still not perfect, though. Like, we've managed to fix out all the mistakes and whatnot, and, so on and so forth, but it's not, is that diamonds? No! Not diamonds. It still makes issues. Like this example right here, this perfectly flat wall, except for those caves I haven't filled in just yet. I had to dig that out. That's an amethyst geode, by the way. Look how crazy it looks. I just destroyed this amethyst geode wall. Everything else is fine on the inside of it. Like, that's just the outside, luckily. That's not the amethyst geode I'll be using for my farm, though. I'll be using one over... Oh, no, that is the one I'll be using. Thankfully, it is fine. That's also an amethyst geode, by the way. I'm sure you're wondering why there's just this ball of water in the middle, but that's an amethyst geode that I wanted to protect, and mostly did, except for this blow up there, and down there another one blew up. But other than those, I think we've done quite well. You know, given how damaging, given how damaging TNT duplicators can be, we've protected that bad boy quite well. Oh, slime. Oh. Okay. Never mind. And then one last thing before we go. Well, first of all, I'd love your feedback. My first video of this style, so I'd really appreciate if you let me know, you know, how I sounded, how I spoke, whether my instructions felt rushed, or whether they were good, or, you know, so on and so forth, as well as other tutorials you want to see, because I'll be doing a lot, I imagine, which also brings us to this next point about what the hell this square is. It's not just some random square, and it's not just witch farm perimeter either. There's going to be a lot of farms in this area. As I'm gonna dig out this entire square all the way down, as you've seen over this side, but with all sides, it's gonna be flat like that, and then indented in all the walls going back 10, 20 blocks maybe, there'll be farms. Ridiculous amounts of farms. Like that entire wall will be a farm. Well, not one farm. There'll be like 6 different farms. That entire wall, 6 different farms. This entire wall, 6 different farms. That entire wall, you guessed it, 6 different farms. So there's gonna be a lot of farms. There's gonna be a lot of videos. Also, there's gonna be a column of farms here. There'll be a mob farm. Got the witch farm already. There'll be a mob farm. There'll be an iron farm down the bottom, and yeah, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be a super project. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. I'll be doing tutorials on every single farm as I do it. Whether it's a simple farm or whether it's a super complicated farm, I'll be doing a tutorial, as well as anything that you recommend or just request. Like if you need help building a basalt generator, let me know. I'll do it. Like I plan on doing pretty much every farmable item as farms anyway. It'll just mean that I do that one sooner, which is perfectly fine for you and perfectly fine for me. So I'd really, really appreciate that. Let me know what you're interested in, and also let me know how you went with this video, and if you had any problems with the TNT duplicators. Anyway, thank you very, very much. I've been Garlic Bread. Consider subscribing, and I will catch you in the next video.